Good afternoon and salam Ibu Pertiwiku. Climate crisis disasters are happening at the rate of one a week, though most draw little international attention, and work is urgently needed to prepare developing countries for the profound impacts, the UN has warned. Mami Mizutori, the UN Secretary-General's Special Representative on Disaster Risk Reduction, said catastrophes such as Cyclone Idai and Kenneth in Mozambique and the drought afflicting India make headlines around the world. But large numbers of lower impact events that are causing death, displacement and suffering are occurring much faster than predicted. She added that this means that adapting to the climate crisis could no longer be seen as a long-term problem, but one that needed investment now. Estimates put the cost of climate-related disasters at $520 billion a year, while the additional cost of building infrastructure that is resistant to the effects of global heating is only about 3% or $2.7 trillion in total over the next 20 years. Many of the lower impact disasters would be preventable if people had early warnings of severe weather, better infrastructure such as flood defenses or access to water in case of drought, and governments had more awareness of which areas were most vulnerable. Thousands of protesters dressed in black on Sunday flooded Hong Kong's street and surrounded a train station connecting the island to mainland China as part of an escalating movement to preserve their territory's independence. Demonstrations kicked off last month in opposition to a proposed extradition bill that would allow for suspects to be sent to the mainland to face trial, but have since expanded into a broader repudiation of Beijing's growing influence. The march began on the harbour front promenade adjacent to Museum and Hong Kong's Walk of Fame, where a moment of silence was held to acknowledge those who have suffered injuries throughout the campaign. Chanting slogans and words of encouragement to their fellow citizens, demonstrators then headed west through a popular shopping destination dotted with luxury shops and towards a major rail hub where visitors from mainland China arrived. Organizers said Sunday's aim were to reiterate the protesters' demands to the government and to give mainland visitors a first-hand look at their movement. Lau Wing-hong, one of the organizers, said the rally would be peaceful. However, hours after the march was expected to end, demonstration continued. The gathering, considered illegal by police, resulted in clashes and arrests. Australian defense officials said on Monday they were tracking a Chinese surveillance ship that is expected to position itself to just outside of its territorial waters to monitor military exercises between Australia and the United States. Around 25,000 Australian and US military personnel on board battleships equipped with strike jets will over the next month participate in biannual Talisman Sabre war games. Lieutenant General Greg Bilton, Chief of Joint Operation at the Australian Defence Force, said the Chinese surveillance vessel was probably headed to Australia's northeast coast to get a first-hand look at the military exercises. Relations between the United States and China have soured in recent months amid a trade war and perceived Chinese assertiveness in the Pacific, encapsulated by Beijing's artificial island building in the disputed South China Sea. China claims most of the resource-rich South China Sea, through which about $5 trillion in shipborne trade passes every year. Brunei, Malaysia, the Philippines, Vietnam and Taiwan also have claims on the waterway. Australia and China are also competing for influence in the South Pacific, a sparsely populated region that controls vast swaths of resource-rich oceans. News of the Chinese surveillance ship approaching Australia follows the announced arrival of 3 Chinese vessels in Sydney last month on the eve of the 30th anniversary of the Tiananmen Square pro-democracy protests. Well, that is all for me. I'm Yumi Srani from TV Sarawak. Anytime, anywhere.